Sekali lagi untuk para teman-teman yang tertarik untuk mengikuti konferensi sesi kedua di hari ini, silahkan bergerak menuju ruang konferensi di lantai 2 karena topik selanjutnya akan sangat menarik sekali. Dan silahkan menuju ke ruangan. Topiknya adalah Rethinking Post-Harvest and Digital Innovation in Coffee. Terima kasih. Selamat pagi Jakarta. Selamat pagi. Thank you udah mau nyempetin waktunya untuk conference di hari ini. Di sesi kedua di hari ini kita akan ngomongin tentang post-harvest and innovation in coffee. Dan hari ini sesinya akan kita mulai dalam bahasa Inggris karena kita ada tamu jauh-jauh dari Chiang Rai yang akan menjadi salah satu speaker di hari ini gitu. Oleh karena itu saya akan izin menggunakan bahasa Inggris untuk kenyamanan speaker kita yang kurang menguasai bahasa Indonesia. Selamat pagi, saya Noveria Aditya, or I could start talking in English. So my name is Noveria Aditya. I'm actually the founder of Java Kirana, a coffee post-harvest processing company and an ecosystem enabler. So today we will talk about the coffee innovations, specifically in the post-harvesting side and innovations. And we will introduce and welcome all three of our speakers. For the first one, there will be Amon Owatwarakit, the lecturer in Mae Fah Luang University. Please welcome Amon. And then the second one, there's Mr. Intan Taufik from the School of Technology in Bandung Institute of Technology. Please welcome him. And last but not least, there's Mas Asra from the Otani platform. Okay, how are you guys? Doing good? Okay, let's start with introduction. So please, starting from Mas Asa, would you please kindly introduce yourself to the camera and to the audience?
Okay, good morning everyone. So my name is Asa. I'm the CEO and founders of Otani. So what is Otani? Yeah, so Otani is simply a platform to help manage agriculture farmland, not especially for coffee, but for every commodities. And we have these missions because Indonesia have a lot of fragmented farmland. We call it petani gurem, which have only below 1 hectares farmland. And this is a unique challenge that we have. So we have to develop unique and specific solutions for our country, right? So that's why we built Otani. Yeah.
Thank you, Mas Asa. So basically, Otani is actually a platform to help enables the coffee traders and also coffee farmers to track their own data in the in the plantation side and help them to create insights out of it. So next one would be Pa Intan. Would you please kindly introduce yourself to the crowd?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Intan Taufik. I'm a lecturer and also researcher in ITB, School of Life Sciences and Technology. I'm a microbiologist, so I study a lot of microbes. One of my study is about microbes in coffee, especially in post-harvest. So we look at about how microbes is influencing the post-harvest, like fighting the molds, also how to heighten or improving the taste. And with that also, we produce a lot of microbial starters. Some of them are already used by coffee producers in Indonesia and also abroad. I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pa Intan. Last but not least, Amorn, would you please kindly introduce yourself?
Okay, good morning everyone. So I'm Amon, okay, I'm from Thailand. So basically I'm doing like a lecturer and research in School of Science and Basic. I just have two parts. One part I try to educate the farmer based on being the scientific knowledge, particularly in how we can improve coffee production and coffee processing. And other way, we try to create a research based on microbiome. It means how the microbe involved from the coffee quality and coffee production. And second one, we're looking at from the genes or the genome, how we can identify what kind of variety of coffee in the farm and how we can prove the authentic coffee, what variety we have. So at the moment, we have like two ways, like a balance between people and the research together, okay, at the moment.
Awesome. So the panel today is kind of heavy. It's very scientific, engineered and everything, but I would like to start with a very basic and a more macroeconomic level of topic. So, you know, Indonesia and Thailand in Southeast Asia are actually quite famous in their progressing coffee post-harvest processing. We're starting to move towards like a higher quality coffee where Cup of Excellence are being held regularly every year. So this question is actually for Pa Intan and for Amorn. I would like to know what are your thoughts about Indonesian coffee for Pa Intan. Amorn, talk about Thai coffee. How do you compare our coffee when compare it to Brazil with the quantity, Panama with its microclimates, Colombia with its very progressive post-harvest processing, and then also Ethiopia and Kenya that is actually also blessed with a very good environment and probably the origin of coffee itself. How do you see Indonesia and Thailand, and how would you position our country in that landscape? So probably Amon, would you start first?
Okay, so I think from Thai coffee, I think when we start to looking at, if we're looking in the past, the coffee Thai is, the same compared to, if we're looking at for the coffee production in Thailand, also in Indonesia, I think we are quite the same way. So in the beginning, we start with a low quality of coffee and low production, and now we think about how we can increase in terms of the quality. So that's why in terms of Thailand, the first one, we have a limit of number of coffee production. So that's why we have to think about how we can enhance to lift up for the coffee based on coffee production. So that's why, and on quality. So that's why we try to, the first step, we've been thinking about how we can educate the farmer first to understand the basic idea how we can get the technique to improve the quality. And second one, we try to introduce form based on the research. Okay, so at the moment, we think we have increased amounts of coffee, increased amounts of the coffee quality, and then we also introduce some kind of the new varieties. So I think now we're growing some geisha, we have some Java, we have some Batians, and some special like a Typica, try to get more idea how we can grow the coffee and can make up a good coffee based on the commercial coffee and also specialty coffee. So I think at the moment at the moment for the Thailand, we running two projects based on commercial one and specialty coffee at the moment.
Oh, so that's the reason why these days there's lots of exotic varieties in Thailand. So you actually import some of the geisha cultivars and then also other coffee varieties in order for you to increase the quality side, but also have a specific research for the commercial side of the coffee.
Yeah, I think linked to this because when it came up with the coffee variety, we bring to the Thailand, but we don't 100% sure what the variety we have. So that's why we have the job and like a question from the farmer that we try to develop the kit from detect the DNA. Okay, so this one is not linked, but I will talk about this one later on. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Then probably the next question is for Pak Intan. How do you see Indonesia as a coffee producing region?
Okay, from my point of view, maybe I would like to pinpoint about two things. So about 98% of Indonesian farmers is actually smallholder farmers. They're not big companies. They lack access to a lot of informations. Maybe they don't read about scientific journals or even books or manuals for coffee growings or coffee processings. And that is one of our, the lack of that is one of our inhibition to get more productive in coffee producing, but also in improving the coffee quality. But on the other side, I have to say that the coffee conditions of Indonesia, either it is the coffee variety that we plant, or the conditions of the farm itself, we struggle a lot that we don't put enough efforts to maintain like the soils or the farm itself. So that also contribute in, if we see that the productivity of Indonesian farms per hectare is getting lower year by year. Although the area, we open a lot of farms, a lot more hectares, and then the productivity, if we divide it by the volume itself, is getting lower.
Right. So I kind of also agree with your point where despite the rising prices of Indonesian coffee, the number of reinvested foundations like capital should be more into restoring the health of the soil in order for us to maintain the number of the quantity, while at the same time to also increase the quality because
Right.
it all relates with all the bricks level, the number of coffee per trees and coffee cherries per trees and everything. So I do agree that we think we should invest more on recovering and restoring the health of our coffee plantations. Okay, so Mas Asa, you're like the one who actually brings the technology into this so-called industry where everything is actually conventional. So what are your problems, your challenges as someone who are actually trying to educate the importance of data, the importance of insights in order for us to be able to farm better?
Okay, thank you for the questions. So actually, this is quite interesting. And last year, I came here to GICC as I see there's someone from Vietnam, and he told like they can produce 1.4 tons per 1 hectares, and Indonesia can only produce like 700 kilograms per hectares. And that trigger me, like Pak Intan say. The problem is we don't know what is our potential capacity. We don't know is it maybe 1 tons or maybe 1.5 or maybe we don't know. We don't have the data. We don't have the methods, and we don't have even how to do it, right? How to increase the productivity, right? But the fact is, our conditions in Indonesia, where there is a lot of 96% of Indonesian farmers is smallholders, and we know that if we compare to Vietnam, they have like really intensive input and sound growth coffee plant, and of course they have this high productivity, right? But if you think about it, is it even possible to implement the solutions to Indonesia? So the answer is no. So we need to find our own way to increase the capacity with our own solutions, right? And when I think about it, if we have this a lot of smallholders and we want to increase, we cannot just adopt what happened in Vietnam, which is they use monoculture. They use really intensive like manufacturing of coffee, right? So like really intensive productions. And we need to leapfrog into what we call polyculture. And as I know, Vietnam is also trying to shift from monoculture to polyculture because they have soil degradations. So what I want to mention here is we need to leapfrog into new solutions that invent by our own, by seeing what happened on the ground, on the Indonesia land and farmers, right? And what is the challenge, right? What is the challenge? Yeah, I have been doing this, making Otani from like last years. I talk with farmers, and of course, technologies and farmers is really far, right? So we cannot like developing digitalizations and ask farmers to use it, and it like working well. Nah, it's will not happen. But one insight that I found it, and it's interesting, is in every agriculture communities there are like this value chain between farmers, the cooperative or koperasi, and maybe organizations or and companies. And there's like long tail of distributions value chain. And I found the issues is the risk distributions. The risk distribution in this value chain is not equal. For example, when there is climate change, the one that burden the risk is the farmers, not the companies, right? Like they can just buy importing coffee from Thailand or from Vietnam, and there's no risk in the companies that produce or selling the coffee. But for farmers, they burden the risk, and yeah, right? So this one problem is the distribution of risk. And the second problem is distribution of resource. The farmers has really limited resources to solve their problem, right? And if we see the companies that it's not specifically in coffee, but in like any other commodities, the companies that selling the seed or the companies that really need farmers to operate their businesses, they have a lot of money. Yeah. So this problem in distribution of risk and distribution of resource is not balanced. That's why we try to in Otani we collaborate with the farmers, the middle stream, farmers as upstream, the middle stream, which is the cooperative or maybe small companies that help farmers, and the companies that buy from farmers to distribute this risk and these resources. Yeah. So that's what we do, and it's quite working, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the way you actually aggregate and collect the data actually could help this so-called midstreams people to gain a better insight and then act accordingly based on the data on the field, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Amon, would you like to start talking about the slides that you have prepared? Would you please? Okay. Yes. You can stand up if you want.
All right. Okay. Maybe just quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. Actually, Amorn has prepared a short slide in order for him to be able to present more on what he's doing.
Okay, so may I understand? Just more clear. Okay, so I think from the coffee in terms of the innovation and technology, so this one just say, somehow if you understand the basic and natural, that you don't need to put more effort on terms of technology and money. So this just showing about the we call microbiome. It means the microbe living around the coffee. So that's why this is not using for fermentation. It's a have benefit for the plant growing and some help from the fruit development and high quality. So you can see in that group, you can see they have many active compound or active micromolecule then be made from the microbes. And then the microbe can be enhanced to get some many kind of flavor in the coffee. So let's think about if you put the yeast, you have one or two compounds. But this one like a complex of the microbe. They're living around the fruit or cherry and also inside the cherry. They can balance kind of the active compound and then make good coffee, make quality, and make more flavor. So that's why we compare between the organic farming or maybe low chemical and growing in the shade, grow or in the forest or outside, outdoor. Maybe you might have a different microbes in a different environments. So I think in this research, we found some of the idea. If you correct the coffee in very good complex ecology and very commercial one, you might come up with the complex form ecology good one. Okay, next one please.
Next.
Okay, so nowadays from the about the enzyme. So I think normally for the micro, we can use the enzyme. So this just shows some idea about the enzyme can be make influence on the coffee process. So you can see the pectinase. So now I think this one come from the amino enzyme. So this can be it's a commercial one. You can buy it. For example, for the pectinase, you can do like a wash process. Sometimes you need microorganism to digest, but you can use pectinase for the commercial one to remove the mucilage and easy to clean it up and dry it quicker. And also, if you want to improve a coffee taste and like after your coffee brewings, for example, you can use manganese to remove the pulp because these kind they digest for the cell wall and then you get consistent. And last one, sometimes you brewing coffee very bitter, so you can use tanniness to reduce, get more balance, for example. So now I think for the novels enzyme can be used for the coffee during processing and brewing process. You get more good coffee. Okay, next please. So this one just show you a link to your idea because this is a station. So nowadays, I think in part of Thailand, in the mountains, we have a little bit problem about the connection in internet and satellite. So we have to work with the company for Singapore to try to make a connection for the weather station. So this one is good to get idea about how we can grow coffee in that area or not. Second one, how we can predict the rainfall, how about temperature, and also you can show us about the disease outbreak. So this is like very simple from the sensor to put around and correct the data, and then you can reflect from the farmer. Not right, and also this is like a representative from the location, and then we can use this data in the future. How you can see the outbreak of the disease, how we can dry out, and also how you can predict the productivity. So this one is a good idea to, we can use also Indonesia because in the different part of island, they might come up with also different climate. So this one is good represent from this part. For example, in Chiang Rai, we just use part, another Doi Chang, Wawi, and Nan. So we can plan this and represent from the weather station to represent an area. And then you can see how about coffee production and quality as well. Next, please. It's a quick one. Okay, so this one, I think maybe to educate the farmer, we need to train the trainer. So the trainer can be using a social lab. That means if you want to learn the coffee processing, you come to the farm and you can learn about this one. Because after we train the trainer, then can get idea, basic idea, and then you can talk with the farmer without me. That's it. Next, please. Okay, so this one is I think maybe we have wrapped about to talk about the coffee can be linked to another about food security because now we've been about the climate change, right? So that means for the coffee, including Thailand and in Indonesia, we have some like gastronomy. It's mean about the coffee can be go to your dish, but make a meal rather than just only the drink. So you can plus with gastronomy and plus we call 4D tourism. The 4D tourism is mean when you go to visit and then you can make some product and you bring back home. For example, you harvesting a coffee, you processing coffee, you roasting a coffee, and then you can bring coffee at home. So this one is kind of you connect with coffee innovation, coffee lifestyle, and coffee tourism together. Please. Next, please. Maybe last one. Okay. So I think I just wrap up from the idea about innovation plus with another application. Okay, plus two.
Yes, thank
Sorry.
you, Amorn. It's a very interesting presentation, actually. The reason why he actually shows this slide is actually for us to be able to understand better on what are the things that have been done in Thailand and what Indonesia haven't. I'm looking at you, universities in Indonesia. So in Thailand, there's like lots of partnerships between the university and then the coffee producers. They work together to learn more on the innovation side. So everything that they are doing are actually based on science. It's not based on know-hows. So that's actually the very interesting part, I think. And also part of the reason why Thai coffee is actually getting better and better in the cup score side. So now we're talking about that kind of issue. I'm gonna throw a very spicy question here for both Mr. Intan and also Amorn. We know that these days the coffee post-harvest processing is a very, very fast-moving world. Everyone, every year, create their own post-harvest processing methods that actually combines fermentations, inoculations, and then even they start doing co-fermentations and then do more additives in order for them to achieve a higher cupping score, to have a distinct flavor that is seldomly not found in regular wash coffees or natural coffees like strawberry notes, grape, and everything. There's like lots of people who actually do it. Some actually share the data behind it. Some others doesn't, and it's their responsibility to do so. But I want to ask the two of you, as you two are lecturers in the School of Life Science and then also in the science, both in a very prestigious university as well. What are your thoughts about these post-harvest processing methods that are very, very interesting to hear, but actually is not based on science? That's the first question. The second question is actually how should we educate the market on how to differentiate between which are the words that are actually based on science and which are only marketing jargons. Because I think it's a very, very interesting topic that relates, which is the point of this discussion, is food safety. Because food safety is actually very important, but seldomly people neglect it. And not because they don't care, but they don't know about it. So please enlighten us about food safety in post-harvest processing.
Okay, maybe I go first. Okay, let me tell you a little background first, what I did before. So I think 2016, because I'm a microbiologist, I want to know, does really microbes affect the taste? Can it improve coffee? So we tested microbes by inoculating it to the green beans, so not the cherries. Initially it was green beans, just to make sure that, okay, microbe is doing something. So we give microbes to the green beans and then we cup it and it is different. So doing it right, again, doing it right, we can improve the cupping score, like 2 to 3 or even 5, just by inoculating microbes to the green beans. But and then when I order the green beans again from the farmers, and then the prices of the green bean is getting pricier.
Increasing.
So and also I asked them if the farmers would do it, but then they said that it will add more work for them and also the prices will go higher. So what the intervention is that we can improve the quality of the green beans by intervening inoculation during the coffee cherries. That's what we did. Almost the same as he told you guys before, is that we look for microbes that actually producing the enzymes. Like we know the coffee it has a lot of pectin, cellulose, maybe tannins. So we select microbes. I think a couple of years ago, I asked farmers for around Indonesia to send me coffee cherries and also from the water. So I look for the microbes and then I test them. I test whether the microbes is producing such enzymes that actually can eat the mucilage.
And it is tested one by one.
Tested one by one.
From how many samples?
I think we got about 20 samples. So I have now about 500 strains of microbes in the lab.
Awesome.
Bacteria and also yeast. And then we tested whether it produces enzymes that it's beneficial for processing. For the farmers, it's their own. So if they want it, I give them back for them to test. But I also collect it myself and also with my partners. So we isolate them and we are actually producing these starters and we sell them with specific capabilities. And how do we make sure in our line of work, I want to make sure that the thing is that processing is, again, safe. How do we make sure that the microbes that I sell to people or the farmer use is safe? So we go back to science, of course. After we characterize them, whether they can produce the enzymes and stuff, we sequence them. So we identify them using genetic moleculars, and we say that, okay, this is the strains of Saccharomyces, this is Lactobacillus, this is Pichia, this is, so I also isolate from Luwak, so we have Cluferomyces and stuff. So we know that these microbes are safe, and then it's a peace of mind for me that if I give it to the farmers, it is safe, not only for the farmers, but also for people who are then consuming the coffee itself. If I have to comment on your questions, innovation is good. I always promote innovations, but again, we have to thread that carefully because one of my products is actually anti-mold. We know that during the drying process, if we have rainy seasons, the drying is very slow. And microbes is everywhere, in our body, within our body, in the air, in the soil, here. And one of them is molds, fungi. And I heard that some people like exporting to Japan, one container being paid.
They got sent back.
They cannot send
Oh,
back.
they can send it back.
Because in Japan, they analyze it, they have ochratoxin, mycotoxins. So they cannot sell it, they cannot send it back.
They have to destroy it.
If he wants to, but at the end they said that if you want to consume it, you have to consume it by yourself, one container.
Wow.
So yeah, mycotoxin is a toxin produced by fungi, which is if it's accumulated into your body, it can be carcinogenic, right? So yeah, so if we don't do it properly, there is this risk. There are risks because if we don't process it properly using proper microbes, tested microbes, there is some chance that this microbe that we use or this process that we use will introduce microbes that are producing mycotoxins or other toxins, or that can later on be transferred to ourselves that can be harmful.
Harmful for the body.
Yes, so we have to be careful.
Yes. Asking again back to that question, actually, Pak Intan, I would actually like to know, can you have like any tips or maybe at least like a small notes for the people who are watching this online later in the future? What are the things that they should take care of in order for at least to adhere to the food safety standards?
I have to comment also that one good thing about coffee is we have a process of roasting. And roasting eliminates a lot of stuff, microbials, either beneficials or harmful bacteria or yeast during the roasting. Also some carcinogenic mycotoxins also can be degraded during the roasting. But we don't want our coffee to be all bitter and nasty, right? So we want it still to be tasty. So if you want to use microbes to enhance your coffee, I can suggest that you use microbes that are already known that it's safety. We have known the terminology of grass, generally regarded as safe. So please use that ones. And also use proper handling facility, cleaning your facility is very, very important because a lot of harmful bacteria and yeast are thriving in that area. If you have access to the labs, please do test them. Like some of farmers do send us some materials for us to test whether there is microbes that are, which from, like maybe you have farms and you want to like create your inoculants, you can send us to university, like maybe myself or other university, ask them for help.
So actually, collaboration is the answer.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I actually want to highlight as well. In Indonesia, there's like a still very low number of collaborations between farmers, processors, universities, and also with the government. And I think that's actually very important because in coffee, there's a very long value chain, and that actually means that everybody have different roles to fulfill, and collaboration is actually probably the key for all of us to pursue a better Indonesian coffee. Thank you so much, Pak Intan, for your insights on this topic. Amorn, about the food safety topic, do you have similar thoughts or do you have anything to add regarding to it? Seeing that in Thailand, most of the coffee farmers and processors, they work together with the universities, right? In order for them to see whether their coffee is actually safe to consume, or even talked about more on the processing and even the cultivation side.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, so I think for my idea is try to let the farmer know about the process like a fashion. So I think maybe normally I just recommend them to just, okay, if you done a good, normal, like a traditional process, wash, honey, and dry process, it's really good, and you can explain us about what the temperature you're doing, how about moistures, how about the pH you collect. If you say exactly number, and then you can monitor all the process, yes, you can go another process. So if you don't explain any kind of scientific way in terms of how you can stop the pH, okay, not lower than 3.8, something like this, you don't go further. So that's the first step to go. And the second one is say, okay, if you want to do special, like a experiment coffee, that means you need to understand the parameter or the parameters. But as you mentioned about, we can know, if you want to use like a starter culture, like an inoculum, yes, you can buy the company. It should be safe because it's already approved from the FDA. That's why you are happy, everyone. I think you test it, you do it, and the consumer happy. That's fine. But in terms of isolate by yourself, okay, maybe you have to prove by another expert. But other way, at the moment, we have some idea about we can use the coffee pulp to do the process. So just remind, this one maybe you cannot control. Just say, if you put inoculum, you can control the system, right? Because for the yeast can be take action all the process because you put high number of the yeast, they can take over all the things. But if you put some like a coffee pulp, you don't know how many microbes in there. And also, if you not control the temperatures, maybe the bad bacteria can be going up. Okay, anyway, if you get a good flavor, but you don't know what's happened inside.
Because it's uncontrollable and unmonitorable.
So this one
right?
is important because you don't know what you have inside your system, right?
Yes.
So that's why it's really leaks on this for biosafety. So I think it doesn't mean for the toxic compound. You don't think it's you die, no. Just say it's like you can accumulate a little bit from the unwanted compound. So particularly in bioamide. So this one also can be happen in the coffee bean, in the coffee processing, coffee roasting. They accumulate more this one, but this compound we say for example, histamine and kind of this maybe it's not toxic. It's just like make you uncomfortable. Sometimes you imagine when you drink coffee, you feel like a hassle, you have omit, you have something like this. Also, this one is very important how we can concern about food safety. And we have some report from the let's say instant coffee.
Instant coffee?
Yeah, they sent to US, but not from Thailand, from other country. They found botulinum.
Oh.
The bacteria called botulinum is the anaerobic bacteria that contaminated in the coffee in the can. So that's why we have to go back to think about if we do the coffee process, how we can make sure that they do not contaminate for the any maybe mycotoxin, bacterial toxin, and kind of control the system. I think this one may be important rather than for the flavor and aroma for the coffee.
Yes, because most of the people these days, they really like to use mosto. If anyone here is actually familiar, it's actually a juice from the coffee cherry that is produced as a byproduct and used again for coffee fermentation. This liquid actually improves the aroma and then also gives a distinct, unique flavor of tropical fruits sometimes. But like what Amon said, sometimes it's not controllable because it's actually from the wild, not from the lab. Therefore, we need to be very, very cautious on using it. And I agree with Amon. Sometimes it's also not about the aflatoxins, but the other chemical reactions that could happen and become like an allergic reaction, like what you said. Because sometimes we have found cases where very heavily modified coffee could create make people nauseous, make people headaches and everything. So by doing a very calculated or monitored standard, I say, that could definitely reduce that risk. And in order for us to be able to be more responsible, because the drinker of that coffee is not necessarily us, because it's not possible for us to drink 20 tons of coffee a year, yeah, Pak Intan. And yeah, that's how we become responsible to our customers and then build a good brand reputation. And yeah, from this session, I think the thing that I want to conclude is actually the importance of standardizations and also how to create a consistency, not only in the commercial products, but also in the specialty level products. That way we can cater a bigger crowd and then also gain a better financial benefits while also at the same time reap more benefits for the whole coffee society. While at the same time, Pak Intan also mentioned, and also Mas Asa also mentioned, that we need to work better on recovering the soil health of Indonesian plantations, especially in Robusta, I think, because where most of the people, the coffee farmers in Robusta, they use like a very strong chemical fertilizers to the point where the land or the soil is very dry and might take a lot of time for them to recover back. And from what Amon's presentation slide actually shows, I can safely conclude that organic coffee is way better in taste compared to chemically pesticide coffee due to the number of bacteria available.
It's not quite organic one. It's like a low chemical.
Low chemical.
Yeah, low chemical.
So controlled number of chemicals is good. Okay. So yeah, that concludes the conference today. And I would like to open 2 questions from the crowd. Okay, I see you, 2. Please, the committees, can you give them the mic? Maybe we can start with this lady over here. Would you please stand up and say your name and shoot the question to someone?
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gina. I think my question is related to climate change, and I think that's been a topic being discussed all over. Are there any current research on varieties or concrete steps that can help mitigate the risks of like the just lower productivity? Because I've also talked to several farmers who have said like these past few years it's just going up, like production level has gone down. So what are concrete steps that people can take to mitigate that risk? Is there research into varieties of coffee that might be more resilient towards climate change, and maybe people can start planting different like coffee varieties as well? So yeah, if any of you have insight into that, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Probably for the second question, the gentleman over there.
Hi, my name is Mika. So when we talk about coffee, we sometimes forget about the wastewater treatment in the coffee processing. And when we added microbes to the coffee, the population of microbes increases to the coffee. Does it significantly impact the wastewater quality, especially the COD and the BOD? And if it happens, how do we tackle the issue? Thank you.
Oh, that's a very technical question, actually. Would you like to take the first question first or the second question first?
Okay, may I? So it's about, yeah, the climate change will requires a lot of coffee to be moved. Let's say for Arabica, right? They need it's several in certain
Variables.
altitudes. So if we have a climate change which is rising in temperature, and then the numbers of the area that is suitable for Arabica is getting lower, which also a big issue in Indonesia because usually the higher altitude is reserved for conservations, and that's why I also have some not conflict, but frictions with my colleagues who is doing ecology and doing conservation because I'm promoting planting coffees, right? But the thing is, that's how the genetics of the coffee itself. And there are some breeding programs that are people doing to look for traits that is trying to make it more suitable in warmer climates. For instance, they're looking for Arabica who is like more resilient if the temperature is getting high. But there is a limit. So there are some efforts going there, but they also maybe we can also consider that like Robusta, which is more resilient to warmer climates.
Yes.
Why not we improve the process of this Robusta to produce better cup of coffee in terms of like making better post-processing to generate more flavor profiles, something like that. That's my take on it.
Okay. As for the second question, would you also like to answer?
Can you repeat it again?
Yeah, it's like about how is the quantity of bacteria in the post-harvest processing actually affects the wastewater after the processing.
Oh, all right. So wastewater, how I see it, is because you remove a lot of organic contents from the cherries, then you are introducing to the body of water a lot of substrates, a lot of foods, and that is the issues, because then a lot of bacteria is like eating it, and they are producing, they taking up the oxygen, and there are like all the oxygen is none left, gone. So if you put fish in it, the fish will die. That's what we easily visualize. Well, if you put, in theory, if you put a lot of microbes there, the faster the organic contents will be degraded, right? But then again, what kind of microbes that you are putting there? Is it a beneficial one or is it a harmful one? Of course, in ecology, there's conditions where they will like normalizations. People the bacteria will fight itself, and then they will normalize. So the bacteria or the microbes that are suitable in that area will later on take over and become dominant. It's by themselves. That's my take.
Thank you, Pak Intan. Would you like to
Okay.
add an answer, Amor?
Okay, so add on some like a climate situation. So I think for me, from the for resistant or maybe the tolerance for the climate, I think for me, just go back from the farm management. So I think this one more important rather than just variety that you grow. So I think one thing, if you want to pick up or select for the one plant that you think it should be very tolerant for the climate change, so that means you can pick up from the area, but you need to think about the production and the plant that you pick up. So the first one, I think you don't need to looking for another variety because you already test in your farm. It should be very tolerant in that area. Second one, I think maybe for the farm management is very important. So I think sometimes the climate change, yes, they do. But you have to check from your coffee is also sensitive to the disease or not. And second one, how you can manage your farm. For example, when you cut the grass, you have to keep the grass still there, not balanced like this. It should be let's keep the moistures to keep the plants still moisture all the time. And also the recommend is you have to do like a shade grown a little bit. So normally around maybe just 30 or maybe 35 or 40% shade grown to protect the moisture content also. But the key thing is you have to understanding about the coffee, because if you say the coffee around, the production of coffee around 5 or 7 years, that you can see out like a growth, 1, 2, 3, they get the production number 1, number 2, and number 3. At 5 years, they're going down. So it should be the cycle of the crop like this. You have to think about, this is a 5 year, you have to pruning or you have to regenerate the plant. It's not still growing like a 10 year or 12 year and so on. So you have to understand the cycle first and how to manage your farm. At least that's why you can protect and you can prevent for the climate change. So this one is good point rather than just looking for another variety to plant it. I think for the second one from the waste management, I think the worst one is to have to minimize, to try to reduce the waste that you can make in your farm. So if you make a wash process, you make a dry process or honey process, let's think about what the process you need to sell. But if you work in the wash process, it's too much water. That means they might contaminate in the environment. So that's why if you just decide what the process you're doing. If you have some limit of area, if you have some waste contamination, try to do another process. Maybe the pulp, just very short, and you can use a machine using small water, and then you make like a tank, because in the coffee pulp it's very toxic. If the pH can go down around 2, they can kill the plants and microbes. So that's why you have to take special tank and let it dry. I say open and let it die. Or if you have another chance, you can do like a plant, recover from the plant using the absorb the nutrition from the plant, maybe 2 steps. Because if you think about the big project based on biogas, maybe from the degradation, you need to make a big station. It's quite big money to pay for. So that's why the first thing, minimize the wastewater. Second one, try to think about how much of productivity or production in that year that you have to do, and estimate the waste will come up, and then you can make a tank and just 2 steps, maybe natural way treatment and microwave treatment, something like this.
I see. Thank you so much. Hope it answers both of your questions. Also, maybe regarding that point that you asked, how could we work together? Actually, there's Pak Surip Mawardi here, one of the legendary coffee agronomists in Indonesia. He is actually the one who developed Komasti, which is the answer for a hotter climate and then also low productivity, while at the same time maintaining a good cup quality. So please give a round of applause to Pak Surip. Oh, Mas Asa would also like to add his thoughts about it.
Yeah, I think I want to answer the first questions because I think I cannot answer the second questions. So if we talk about climate change, there are 2 things that related to this, which is to mitigate this, which is the climate adaptations or climate resilience. So we want to be resilient or we want to be adapt, right? But if we want to adapt or we want to be resilient, we need to understand first what happened because of this climate. Is it the temperature? Is it what happened that impacting our communities? Is it because the increase of temperature, it's make a complex results of our plan, right? So we need to understand first. If we know the impact of this change, we can choose. We want to adapt using new varieties, or maybe we can adapt it with new varieties, or we can just use new technologies to increase the resiliencies, right? So because what I do right now is like I develop infrastructure to detect the temperature, the humidity, all of the indicators that impacting the quality of our yields. That's, I think, could contribute to understanding what is the impact of climate change to our conditions right now. So yeah, I think that could be answers, yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you. It has been a very heavy topic, if I may say. But once again, I would like to thank you all the three speakers. And if you guys still have any questions, these people will still hang around for you to have a discussion with and ask questions with. We will prepare a space for everyone if you want to talk more about it in the side of this room. Thank you so much for tuning in, both of you here that is attending offline and the people online. And please let us take pictures together first before we say bye to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Please give a round of applause to all of our speakers.